Suave.
I've been in my bag for a while, I'm invincible. Story of a young boss, grinding shit get critical. Calling on my bros one time, cause you special. I had some hoop dreams of right rounds for my mentor. Every target that I shoot is on point like a pencil. Different route, change relationships, I'm so sorry. Came up from the trenches and I made it, I say hardly. Now
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all of your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all of your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including a live betting option and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. All righty, guys, we are back with another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast presented by BetOnline. As you know, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the episode, got to remind you guys to like this podcast, subscribe to this podcast, give us a 5-star rating. It goes a very, very long way. We're over to 7,000 subscribers on YouTube now. I just hit 1K on Instagram, so we're growing by the day. So just thanks to everybody who's tuning into the podcast, sharing the podcast, man, definitely goes a long way. That was my guy, Pull Up Tay, on the intro. It's going to be him again here on the outro. Make sure you guys are streaming his music. He just dropped a new album, man, so go tap in with that. One of the hottest up-and-coming artists out of the DMV. But without further ado, man, now that we got all the business out the way, I'm Andrew Robinson, as always, joined by my co-host Alexis Davis. Alexis, man, what's good? You've been all around the world lately, covering Super Bowl. Just got hired by the Phoenix Suns. Got to clap for her, and Phoenix Mercury doing social media over there. You know what I'm saying? So, what's up, man? How you been? Give us a little update. Superstar.
It's good. It's definitely fun to be inside of an NBA team during playoffs and not just, watching on TV, but actually the ins and out and the marketing that goes behind playoff runs and all of that. So it's definitely good to see the other side.
That's dope, man. I'm just grateful to be blessed with your presence on this platform because she don't get too Hollywood for us one day. So we gotta enjoy her while we can. Nah, man, but definitely got to introduce our guest, man. This is what? We met 16? You came to Quinnipiac?
Yep.
7 years in the making. One of my guys, man, definitely somebody who's played high-level basketball all around the world, from the G League to overseas. Somebody who's obviously, a bunch of you guys probably know from following my guy's career, Mr. 55, Mr. Double Nickel. Cameron Young, man. Cam, what's up, my boy? How you doing?
Doing good, bro. I'm out in LA, just enjoying the off season, bro. I appreciate you having me on the pod.
No doubt, man. No doubt. We'll have a great time catching up, reminiscing back on the QU days, you know what I'm saying? But before we get into that, like you mentioned before, man, obviously born and raised in LA, out in LA now, enjoying the off season. Talk to us just kind of about how you got into basketball, what kind of brought you here? Because I feel like for me, from the outside looking in, just, from talking to you over the years, you mentioned that you kind of were a late bloomer when it comes to basketball, kind of started playing a little bit later. And, your game kind of obviously has developed a lot since then. So just talk to me about how you got introduced to basketball and just your relationship with the game, as you got older.
Yeah, man. One of my boys, one of my close friends, Chris, went to middle school together, so he was on the team like 7th and 8th grade, and I just kind of just played like at lunchtime and nutrition, stuff like that. And he was trying to get me on the team and stuff like in middle school, and I was like, nah, because like I said, I won best dressed in the 8th grade, so I was just really into fashion and like skateboard and stuff like that. I wasn't even tripping on a hoop. And then going into high school, I just tried out. Like I ain't hooped that whole summer, just tried out for the team, and I made it. And then from there, like, that's where, it kind of just moved forward from trying out in the 9th grade.
That's kind of crazy. So you mentioned skateboarding. I think this might be the first time I ever heard you skateboard. So you was on your skater vibes out in Cali?
It's like an LA thing though. Like everybody was on that at some point. Like middle school, elementary school type stuff like that. Everybody was skateboarding and stuff. So
That's crazy, man. You still got it, or you washed up now?
I'm probably decent still, but I ain't even gonna take a chance out there on it, to be honest.
Man, look, pop out to Venice, man. I was just at Venice the other day. I seen the skate parks out there. You know what I'm saying? May as well go ahead and pop out Venice Beach, man. Go to a little skate park over there.
Nah, it's a good vibe. I just go over there and watch at this point. I can't afford no injury.
Smart man, a smart man. Obviously, I'm a DMV guy. Lexus is a DMV girl as well. So you outnumbered on the podcast today. DMV got the best hoops in the country, but obviously LA is up there. Y'all got some cool hoops out there as well. Just talk about the LA basketball scene. Kind of how that, now talking about how you kind of grew up and just started skating, but the LA basketball scene is also something that is major. You went to Westchester, which is a school that has a bunch of history as far as basketball. So just talk about how the LA basketball scene kind of influenced you as you started kind of coming to your own with the game.
I mean, LA got the biggest influence. I mean, you say the DMV is, number one in hoop, but that's obviously not true, bro. But like hooping in LA, like you got no choice but to like try to be as good as you can just because of how many good players came out of here. Like you said, I went to Westchester, so some of my big homies is like Trevor Ariza, Bobby Brown, dudes like that who played in the league and, played in the league for a while. So that LA influence is just like, it's everything for real.
So how would you say that kind of carries over to the player that you are today? Like anything that you learned playing on the playground or blacktop or just playing AAU in LA? Like, are there any things that you feel like you picked up early on that still kind of show up now?
Yeah, I think it's just like my style, my swag on the court. Like LA got like a real specific like style of play. I feel like their games are more polished, and I feel like other places, like guys from New York, are kind of, in my opinion, not as good of shooters as guys from the West Coast, and that's just like I feel like it has to do with the conditions like you came up playing in and stuff like that. So definitely.
Yeah, I think polish is a good word, you know what I'm saying, to describe your LA guys. I think us on the East Coast, we all be like, man, LA Hoopers, man, out there, y'all soft, man. It be like y'all Venice Beach vibes, us East Coast vibes. We playing outside, we in the farms with it, you know what I'm saying? We tried to get matter of fact, you remember when Z was playing all them outside games back in the summer, the COVID summer, he was watching, you know what I'm saying? That's how we get down out here, you know what I'm saying?
It's bad basketball, bro. A lot of fouling. It don't take nothing to be good at just throwing the ball in the hoop when you're under the basket, bro. So
Respect.
You mentioned like a couple of people that went to Westchester or just around that area that you kind of look up to, but is there anyone specifically, whether that be a male figure or just basketball or non-basketball, just anyone that you've kind of been looking to or that's been kind of mentoring you through all your different stops?
yeah, for sure. Probably my teammate this year on Ignite, Pooh Jeter. Like he's probably the one of the biggest faces in LA basketball. Only played like a year in the NBA, but he's just like so connected across everybody. Like everybody who plays basketball, who's ever came to LA and played basketball goes through him. Like he's probably the biggest like influence or big brother type person that I've had him over my career.
Now, you mentioned Pooh, but I know that you're also close with Trevor Ariza, and he's somebody who, you worked out with in the past during the off season. I can remember just back when he was trying to get back in the league before he signed with the Heat. You guys were, working out together down there with Remy down in Miami and stuff like that. Talk about what that's been like, being able to kind of follow his footsteps a little bit and learn from him, work out with him and just see what it takes to really, be a professional basketball player.
Yeah, I mean, Trev is a good guy to have in your corner for sure. Like, obviously, he went to my high school, so I always seen him around a lot when I was in high school, but I didn't have such a close relationship with him like I do now. And now it's just easy. Like, if I got any questions about like defense, like which is something he's known for, I can just like send him a text or he'll like FaceTime me, stuff like that, and just help me through that stuff. Or I remember like last summer, I was getting ready to do summer league with the Cavs, and like he knew like a bunch of guys on the staff. So like he called bigger staff, the head coach, like right in front of me, like, yo, watch out for my young boy. Like it's crazy, like the influence that he got, and like, you know, he willing to stick his neck out for me, and you know, because obviously he respects my game as well.
So like a lot of NBA players, they go to LA during the off season, just whether that's to train or if they want to, try out a new trainer or, hang out with old teammates, whatever that looks like. Have you been able to kind of participate in that a little bit, either this off season or previous off seasons, or ran into anybody, just kind of in that realm?
Yeah. Like we normally have our own runs in LA at Westchester, and a couple of our other homies come who play in the league come and play, like D'Anthony Melton, like he was in the gym pretty much every week last summer. Chemezi Matu, he was in the gym with me as well. So just guys like that, like, you know, they have like the Rico runs, but I normally don't go just because it's a little too much traffic for me. But we definitely have our own runs, and the NBA dudes show up to ours too.
So kind of taking it back, or kind of following along that same timeline. You're at Westchester, you're looking to get recruited to go to college. What was that recruitment process like? Obviously, you ended up going to junior college. So walk me through your mindset when you're first coming out of high school, looking to go to college, and then what, number one, I guess, what allowed you to kind of go the JUCO route in the first place, and then number two, just talk about that whole JUCO experience, man, because people make a lot about JUCO and how rough it is, or how this and that it could be. So just talk about what those 2 years, 1 year actually, you're at JUCO for 1 year, 2 years. 2 years, yeah. What that 2 years like for you down there in JUCO?
Yeah, I mean, like recruitment was pretty slow for me. When I was in the 10th grade, I got an offer from San Francisco. I was probably like my only offer in high school, but like the coaching staff ended up getting fired before my senior year came up, so offer kind of fell through. So by the end of my senior year, like we were a good team. We were like 30-6, but nobody really got recruited on our team besides our main guy. And so I was like kind of stuck at that point, and I knew I didn't want to stay in LA and do JUCO, so I got a scholarship to go JUCO in Arizona. Went out there, did a little visit and stuff like that. So yeah, it was Yuma, Arizona, so it was in the middle of nowhere, like in between probably like Phoenix and San Diego. I'd say probably like 3 hours from both of them. And yeah, it was nothing to do besides work out. Like I think middle of the desert, 115 degrees. Like yeah, so that's like probably where I got the most development, over a short period of time in my early days starting to hoop. Was definitely really super important in my development.
Oh, we're gonna pause real quick. I think, are you covering the mic? Your audio is a little bit muffled when you were answering the question.
You hear me better now?
Yeah, it's better now.
All right, cool.
All right, bet.
So you said you didn't want to do JUCO in LA. What were your main reasons for wanting to do it somewhere else?
Just being like in the mix, I wanted to get away. Like being from LA, everybody's here who like obviously didn't go off to college, and even my boy, like I said, we had another guy on our team, high school team, who did get recruited. He went to USC. So even just being around that, I probably wouldn't have been as focused as I was, going to Yuma, Arizona and playing. So.
Hey, I won't cap, man. You were a wise man. I just came back from LA for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Top tier place. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna circle back on this later in the podcast, but I'm gonna be moving to LA, relocating. So for all my DMV folks listening to this, man, sayonara. But neither here nor there. Is JUCO really as treacherous as people make it seem to be? Because I feel like obviously I didn't go to JUCO, but all you hear about JUCO is like, yeah, JUCO is a grind, man. JUCO, wow. Like, so from somebody who actually had to go through it, like, is it actually as rugged or as tough as people make it seem?
I feel like when people say that, it kind of sounds like they're talking about like the actual basketball, but like that part of it is just like pretty much any regular like basketball situation. But like off the court stuff, it definitely like you gotta think like for my situation, I'm in a dorm and it's like not like dorms like Quinnipiac. It's worse than that. So, and like we eating cafeteria food, and obviously like so JUCOs like national JUCOs like that. The football teams are like pretty much the entire football team like probably went high major. So you get into the cafeteria, you get there late, it ain't gonna be no food in there, type stuff like that. Like,
Damn.
but like the basketball, it was pretty cool though. Like it wasn't no, I don't know, grind, quote unquote. Like obviously like the off court, I mean the work is the grind part of it, but it is what you make it. I mean, I pretty much worked out by myself or with one of my teammates. It wasn't like the coaches putting us through anything or stuff like that. You definitely gotta grind yourself out of it, but I feel like people kind of exaggerate it a little bit though.
Copy. Kind of fast forward to Quinnipiac, man. Obviously, I feel like it's very, everybody's aware of the story. You know, you came to your first year under Coach Moore, didn't play, and then Coach Dunleavy comes next year and literally just like revives your career, and you rest history, MAAC Player of the Year, and it propels you into your professional career. But I kind of want to rewind to that first year, right? Because for those listening to this, man, I hosted Cam on his visit. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when you were on your visit, you committed on the visit, coming in, right? This is Coach Moore's, I guess from my perspective, because I was there before Cam, for context, for everybody listening, right? My freshman year, I was there. I think we might have won 9 games. Everybody kind of knew that Coach Moore was on the hot seat. So he brought in like, I think, 4 JUCO dudes, you, Slinky, Reggie, Phil, and then it was Mikey and Pete came in the next year. So it was like 6 new dudes that year. I feel like, and out of the 6 dudes, 4 of them were JUCO guys. Everybody knew Coach Moore kind of had to win in order to keep his job. Obviously, that didn't end up happening. But when you first got on campus, because we're gonna kind of walk it through in phases. When you first got on campus, right? Like, what's your mindset? What's Coach Moore telling you? Like, are you thinking that you're gonna kind of come in and just, get right to it? Because obviously, when things started, it kind of got off to a rough start. But what's your mindset when you're coming into a situation initially?
So with that specifically, like the weekend before QU, I went to Iona and I did a visit there. So then I flew to QU the next week, and like I'm saying, I'm in the office with Coach Moore, with my mom, and he's telling me like, I'm not gonna guarantee you starting, but you're gonna be playing like 30 plus minutes a game. Like words out of his own mouth, like on my visit. So I was like, the visit went cool too. So that's why I like really signed on the spot. And I was tired of flying to the East Coast. Like I went back to back. That was my first time flying that way. So I was already over it. So after him telling me that and then being over the traveling, like that's what made me sign like on the spot.
Yeah, and your host too showed you a great time. You know what I'm saying? You had to miss situations. Hear that, Alexis? I showed the recruit a great time. That's committed on the spot.
Not confirm or deny. I was not there.
Oh man. So all right, so boom. So we got the recruitment. You committed on the spot. Coach Moore telling you you're gonna play 30 minutes a game, right? You get to the first practice, and I feel like, again, this is from my perspective. Early on, it seemed like, how Coach Moore is yelling, super physical, rebounding, everybody's going at it. And he's on your ass because he claims that, you're not talking, you're not giving energy to your teammates, clapping, and all that kind of stuff. That was his thing about why you didn't play. So when we're starting practice and things like that, he's getting on your case. Like, what are you thinking in your mind? Did you ever think like, all right, I'm not gonna play? Was it kind of like, damn, like, why he on me? Like, what was going through your mind during that time?
I mean, early on, I thought I was gonna be cool, and I remember like right before the first game, I think we played Vermont first game, right? And I had rolled my ankle, so I was out for the first game anyway. So I wasn't suited up anyway. So I came back, not really knowing the vibe of it. Like obviously, he had been on me, but I thought like obviously versus what he told me, I thought like I still showed like my ability enough. And so I thought I was going to be in the rotation at least. I didn't think it would be like starting off the back or nothing like that, but I thought I would definitely be a rotation player. So it definitely caught me off guard, like not playing for like, I don't think I got in for maybe the first like 7 straight games probably.
Right. So when did it click in your head like, damn, like nah, like, this dude's really not gonna play me this year? Like when did that click for you? Like did you realize like, damn, like this year did I make a mistake? Like I guess that's the first question. When did it click like, damn, like it's not really working out? And then number two, what's going through your mind at that time? Are you like, man, fuck it, I'm transferring, I'm out of here? Are you like, damn, like, what's going through your mind during that time?
It probably clicked probably like 4 or 5 games in, like, after I came back from the injury and I was able to practice and stuff again. And then like 4 or 5 games in, not getting in at all. And I remember we went down to that tournament in Florida.
Yeah.
And then that was just another, episode that went on there. And, yeah, man, just from that point on, I already kind of felt the vibe of it. Like, but yeah, definitely early on, I was still working, getting my work in, going in the gym. And then like in the middle of it, I was just over it. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm definitely leaving. Like, not working out no more. It was definitely, a super tough time for me. But and then I remember like towards the end of the year, I started to, pick it up a little more with my work again and, get in practice and being able to show myself a little bit. And that's didn't really change anything, but that just for me, it, showed me that I still had that ability.
Right. I think that's a
When,
good kind of no, go ahead. Let's just go ahead. My bad.
and I was just gonna say when your new coach came in, of course he kind of had already kind of his own scope of everybody on the team. So what were the conversations like between you and him as far as discussing what your goals were, some of the things that he was telling you about getting you on the floor more? Like how did those conversations go? Because of course, I mean, he wasn't there the whole time, but as a new coach, it's now your program, you're the CEO of that team. So at that point, I'm sure he looked into the fact that you weren't playing. So what was that conversation like when he was announced as a new coach, and then any one-on-one time that you got with him beforehand, kind of just talking about what his plan was for you that ultimately made you, stay there and not transfer?
Yeah. We all had individual meetings with him, but like Drew probably remembers, but before we had been playing, like all the new coaches came and we would play like in groups of threes, 3-on-3.
Yep.
And I was killing. So like I was killing before my meeting with him. So I get to my meeting, he was just like, obviously you've been playing well. Like, you didn't play last year, but we haven't had any like, bad reports on you and stuff like that. So he was like, I don't know, what's going on with that stuff, but we would like to have you back for next year. And he didn't guarantee me anything playing time or nothing like that, but he obviously could already see like my ability from our little 3-on-3 groups we were having before I had the meeting with him. So that kind of, helped me out.
I feel like you said something interesting in your last response where you were like, yeah, like I already had it in my mind, like I'm out of here, And I remember when Coach Dunleavy came, Mikey and Pete hit the portal immediately. Phil was like, I'm out of here. Reggie was like, I'm out of here. Initially Slink was gonna like stay. He was kind of like weighing his options at first a little bit. So for you, when did your mind change from nah, fuck that, I'm out of here for sure to like, all right, I might give this guy a chance?
Probably the day Coach Moore got fired. Like, no joke. I remember being in class and somebody sent the text message like, we got a meeting in the locker room at like 11 o'clock. And I remember being in class like, bro, I cannot wait to get out of class just to get there, bro. Like the day he got fired, like I had a feeling like I would just have a better opportunity with somebody else coming in there.
So when that happened, you immediately was like, all right, I'll probably end up staying? Or was it like,
Yeah.
I remember during that time, people would think it was going to be Grosso. Remember that? Everybody was like, Grosso going to get the job. And it was
Right.
like, all right, like that was kind of exciting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that definitely was a moment for me because, like, if I were to have transferred, like with my stats, I didn't really play. Like, I probably played, 4 minutes, got in garbage time every game. So, I didn't even score. So I had no stats. So I would have probably ended up going D2 or something like that. So definitely that was the moment, like, where I was like, yeah, I'm staying for sure.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into Coach Dunleavy, the Dunleavy era in a second. Actually, no, let's get into it now. So obviously, from my perspective, I remember that junior year, right? You came in, and I feel like for the guys that was there that came back that year, me, Ace, Al, Dooley, Chase, like it was no surprise. Everybody already knew that you could play. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that was any surprise that you had the year that you had your junior year, because you finally got the opportunity to get on the court. For me, and I think you had some pretty good games originally, if I'm not mistaken. But for me, I feel like the coming out party for you was like that whole Virgin Islands trip. Went to Colorado. Obviously, you had the 30 ball. Well, you had 30 versus Colorado, right? In that game, the first game you played.
I think
Something
like 29, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And I thought that tournament, like, we was like, all right, like, nah, Cam is here. I feel like you might have had some good games before that. I don't remember specifically, but I feel like after that tournament, it was kind of like solidified. Like, all right, he's put 30 on his high major. We played Wake Forest in that game, and that whole tournament, you played really well, and I think the rest was history. What's going through your mind, man, at that time when you come out there and you hooping, like right away, you like, because I feel like mentally, right? I feel I kind of went this a little bit too. Like, obviously, I didn't play my senior year at Quinnipiac and do the whole redshirt thing. And it was like, when you go through a year and not playing, and you don't even tell me I wasn't going to be in the rotation, you kind of like question, like, damn, like, am I ass? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, And then it took me going to Coppin the next year and playing 30 minutes a game and like averaging double figures and like having good games. It's like, all right, now, like, I can hoop. And I just remember them emotions coming back, like, damn, like, now, like, you are who you think you are. You know what I'm saying? So for you, what was that moment like in your head for you when you came out the first couple of games, non-conference, and you started hooping? Like, did you like, was it kind of like a breath of fresh air? Like, what was the emotions that was going through your mind, man? Like, all right, like, nah, like, it wasn't me.
Man, like, I think that might have been our third or fourth game. I'm not sure which one it was, but I know we played Dartmouth the first game.
Yeah.
I had I think I had 8 points, shot like 1 for 10. And I was like you just said, like, I was like, bro, like, I might be whack. Like, I swear. And then, like, I think the next game we might have played Brown, I want to say. I don't know if that was the second game or third game.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of a better, I had like 15, still didn't shoot well. Shot like 5 for 13 from the free throw line. And then, like, the third game, like you said, was that Colorado game. And for me, like, coming from LA, like playing in the Pac-12 has like always been like something I wanted to do. So like going to that game, I was just super locked in. And like one of my boys, Naaman Wright, was on the team. Like I played against him in high school. So it was just like a game like that I really wanted to showcase myself. And, I was just super confident at that point after coming off that Brown game. And, shots was going in, shots that I never made before was going in that game. So like that was definitely like the coming out party and probably, put me on a level that I didn't even know I was at myself, to be honest.
Damn, that's tough. Kind of expounding upon that, you talk about, you kind of surprised yourself a little bit and put yourself on a level that you didn't even think that you were at. That year you made second team all MAAC that year, right?
Yep.
Yes. That year, I think you averaged like 17 points a game or something like that. Second team all MAAC. The next year you go on and obviously win MAAC Player of the Year, and you had some NBA workouts and stuff like that. To see where you got to, right, at the end of your college career, just everything you were able to accomplish, and then looking back to where you were, right, when you're buried on the bench in the Coach Moore situation, you're down on yourself, you stop working out, you're like, I'm about to transfer. I feel like it's crazy when you think about it. Like, you just said, like, damn, I'm probably going to transfer and go D2. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that close. You know what I'm saying? It's just your career going a completely different direction. You look back on it, just full circle, man. How do you reflect on, where you started from to where you were able to get to, at the end of your Quinnipiac career, after going through, what you went through with Coach Dunleavy and kind of being able to really resurrect your career? Like, how do you reflect on that time?
Man, I'm definitely like, proud of myself and grateful for like, getting the opportunity to actually do it. Like I'm saying, like going into year 5 next year. And like I talk to my brother all the time and he'd be like, bro, it's like it don't matter what happened, like you already did it. Like, but like when you on the journey and you already like, running the race, like you don't really ever take no time to step back and look at the journey. So definitely like crazy, like I don't know, like I'll be joking with my mom and stuff. Like I'd be like, I'm not even supposed to be here. Like even coming from, getting no offers in high school, under recruited, going JUCO, then not playing that year, like from those last 2 years at QU, it was like, night and day from the rest of the journey. So it definitely set up like, where I am now. And I'm definitely grateful for, being able to make it through the tough times and being able to get where I'm at now.
When you're playing in those games and you're, having multiple games where you're scoring over 30, is there like something that just clicks and you're just like just having confidence and shots are just going in, or is it just more so a sense of just fearlessness to just go after it? Like, what is it that kind of clicked for you in those games where you were just like continuously scoring?
Um, I don't know. I think maybe just seeing myself do it once, like I'm definitely a guy who always gets my work in, and I think, going into that year, like where I was able to do it, I was already ready, physically ready, but probably wasn't mentally prepared to play. So getting that first game and, you know, going off that first time, that probably like really set me up to be able to do it consistently and carried it throughout that season.
It kind of like, I guess, kind of like a two-part question. So, one of those games led to you being on Sports Center, but can you kind of just talk about that experience of being on Sports Center? And then the second part of that would be just with, media coverage, sports coverage is really on the rise. A lot of people into sports, watching it, et cetera. Do you think that there are some things that the media is doing well as far as covering athletes and covering games? Or do you think there's some things where, they could improve their perspective or improve the angle at which they cover it at?
Yeah, I mean, being on Sports Center was definitely dope. You know, stuff you dream about. Um, but yeah, like you said, just getting that media coverage actually kind of, helped me because it helped me be able to get like, attention from more NBA teams and stuff like that. Because like I had like several interviews going into the pre-draft process, and they were all talking about like, you know, that game, and none of them probably actually saw the game. They probably either, you know, seen it on there or seen it like on the internet or something like that. So like definitely like I think media, helping the guys who probably need it more than others. Like obviously the high major schools are already gonna get the TV time. But for me, like being a guy who went to a mid major school, like getting that exposure probably helped me more than it would have helped somebody else that's, consistently getting it.
So I wanna put a bow on the whole Coach Moore don't leave you time. And I just want to ask you, like, I feel like that was back in, like I said, 2016, 2017, where you went through that situation with Coach Moore. And shoot, we're 6-7 years removed from that now, right? And we always joke in the group chat about it, like, yeah, man, like, what I'm saying, I'm chip on my shoulder forever. Like I'm always going hold that, in my heart and stuff. I want to know 7 years later, right? You sitting back, you're looking at it, you're an adult now, you're talking about going in a year, 5-year professional career. Do you ever look back on that time and be like, cause I feel like just for me personally, right? I feel like it's easy for, as players, we kind of have to put that chip on our shoulder and be like, nah, like, yeah, it was, this is why I ain't play. This is why I ain't play. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like it's their fault, right? Do you ever look back on that time and be like, you know what, I could have did something differently about that time, and I wish I would have approached it differently? Maybe if like, all right, maybe I could have been more vocal, or maybe I could have been a better teammate, whatever that looks like, right? Do you ever look back on that time and think like, all right, like maybe I could have handled it differently, or just how do you reflect back on that? I guess in hindsight, because hindsight is always 2020. Just how do you reflect on that? 7 years removed, as a man now and as an adult now.
Man,
Be honest. I want you to be honest. I can see the smile in your face.
I'm not gonna lie, like I've never looked at it from a like perspective of like what I could have done differently, because like when I did my visit there, like I'm a naturally reserved person anyway. And I went out of my way, my mom went out of her way to say this on my visit. So like that's my thing. If I'm gonna be myself, like I got penalized for being myself. Like I'm quiet. Like I don't think I was quiet like to the expense of the team, but I'm like a naturally quiet person. So I don't think I should have did anything differently because, at the end of the day, like I used to always say, like, I'm gonna do it my way. Like not selfishly, but like I'm not gonna change myself, just to fit, like what he wants. And I think that's, sticking to sticking to my guns and being true to myself is what's also helped me, become the player I am today.
I think that's a super dope perspective, honestly. I feel like that's honest. And if I knowing you, I think that is a super, honest answer, so I definitely appreciate that for sure. Um, I think you said something too, just about being yourself and how at the end of the day, unapologetically being yourself has kind of carried you on to, being who you are today, right? And kind of unrelated a little bit, but I'm looking at a guy like Russell Westbrook, for example, who's always unapologetically him, in any situation. And it's crazy because on the Lakers, people was murdering him for being a cancer to the team, or somebody called him a vampire and this and that, right? And people were trying to blame him for all these type of different situations. And then he goes to the Clippers, and I'm at the games. I'm in crypto. Russell Westbrook, everybody's going crazy and cheering him on. I'm like, bro, like these ain't these the same fans that was just booing him in the same arena for a different team. It's just like, it's crazy how, I guess, when you change your environment, right? You change a certain set of circumstances. You could do the exact same thing, but it's received two different ways just based on who's around you, your teammates, coaches, whatever the environment is. Just how do you, I guess, what's your take on that, man? Just as far as just being yourself, being authentic to yourself, and just, I guess, what has that taught you, or what do you think lesson kids or somebody else coming behind you can kind of learn about just being authentic and being themselves in these kind of situations?
I think it teaches you to be like, not really dependent on what the results are. Like you have to go through it. Like, so say if in a situation, if I were to do like exactly what Coach Murray wanted me to do, like maybe that would have got me on the court. Maybe I would have played, but who knows if I would have had the same, outcome, like just being in the rotation, not being the player I was. So like just me being myself, allowed me to be myself when it was time to showcase myself. So I was able to, probably get the best out of it, give my full 100 instead of like, giving half of myself because I'm trying to meet him halfway and, do what he wants me to do as well. So I definitely think like being true to yourself, like at the end of the day, whatever the outcome is, you can be okay with the results because you know that you were you, pretty much.
Where would you say like that kind of confidence comes from? Because I feel like it's really easy to give into a program and give into what a coach wants. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to play. So, and depending on how you view your coach, in some situations, you want to please your coach. In some situations, you crave that pat on the back, but some situations, you're able to just stand and do your own thing. So even though, you weren't necessarily seeing the results that you wanted initially by being yourself, what were some of the things that kind of, made you continue to be yourself until you started seeing things kind of move towards your favor a little bit?
I think that's just who I've been, like, probably influenced from like my mom, for instance. My mom is a person that's not changing for nobody, like good or bad, it could be right or wrong in her mind, but that's just something, that's how I grew up. Like, you know, yeah, like I don't even really know how to explain it, to be honest. Like I feel like that's something that probably was instilled in me like since I was younger. So that's how I was able to do it, I suppose.
So I feel like we've talked a lot about Quinnipiac and kind of moving on to your pro career, right? First year out of college, you had a bunch of NBA draft workouts and things like that. And you initially decide to go to Italy to play for Pallacanestro Cantu, top division in Italy, one of the best leagues in Europe, best leagues across the world. Before we get to your season actually in Italy, right? What was your mindset when you came out of Quinnipiac? Because in my mind, right, like I feel like when people always ask me about you, like, yo, hey, you play with bro from Quinnipiac that had 50? I was like, yeah, that's my teammate. Like, yeah, bro, like what's his game like? I'm like, bro, like he's an NBA player, bro. Like he could play in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like offensively, he could score. He has size, he's athletic, can shoot it. You know what I'm saying? He's everything that you would want in a guy that as an NBA player, in my opinion. So when you came out, right, you're doing the NBA workouts. I think you did Portsmouth too, right? You went to Portsmouth. Was your mindset, all right, I'm going to the league like right away? And I guess secondly, when did you kind of have to be like, all right, you know what, league not calling, I'm gonna go overseas? Because I feel like for a player like yourself, who's MAAC Player of the Year, scored 50, did Portsmouth, you're doing the NBA workouts, you're getting the feedback, right? Like, what was that feedback like for you initially from NBA teams? And then I guess what was your mindset as far as weighing, all right, do I chase the NBA right away or do I go get this money?
It's like you said, I did Portsmouth. I played, pretty decent. Didn't play as good as I thought I could, but yeah, then I did probably I think I had like 8 or 9 workouts. But towards the end, I had an Exhibit 10, so which is training camp with the Boston Celtics. So I would have done training camp with them, probably got waived, and then did G League.
Right.
But the reason I didn't do it was because my boy Elijah Stewart, who, like I said, went to USC. He was on the Exhibit 10 the year before, and he didn't play. So I wanted to play. That was my main thing. I wanted to get on the court. I didn't know, me knowing now, if you're in Exhibit 10, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be one of the main guys playing. But at the time, I'm going off of that. One of my closest friends just going through it and not playing. So that was the main reason why I didn't go to training camp with Boston and I went to Italy, because I know going overseas, I mean, no matter what, you're gonna be on the court. They're not paying you overseas to, come and just sit on the bench. And then going back, the situation happened in college. I didn't want to be in no situation where I was on the bench and couldn't, grow my wealth or show people. So that was pretty much probably the influence from my friend. And then also, the stuff that I already had been through that made sure I had to, get on the court and play and showcase myself, especially as a rookie.
You kind of mentioned earlier about just naturally being reserved and kind of being more of an observer, not really the first person to speak. But when you're in a new environment, overseas in Italy, did you find yourself having to step out of your comfort zone a little bit to learn the language, kind of learn the flow, the culture and stuff like that? And what were some things that you kind of did, whether that was depending on teammates to translate or, doing research or whatever that case may be, what were some of the things that you had to do to really, immerse yourself and get the most out of that experience?
I probably really did the opposite. I could probably tell you, ciao is the only word I know in Italian. I didn't get into the culture at all. My thing was just if I'm gonna go there and I gotta learn the language, people should be able to do the same thing. In my eyes, these people had American teammates for years now. So why should I have to come and learn a whole new language? It's the same thing. So that's how I kind of was. My teammates definitely did help me. I had some older guys who had been over there for years. So they kind of, helped me along the way, on the court and off the court. But with the language stuff, I definitely, didn't adapt, didn't try to learn anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I can remember the QU group chat, Snapchat. You were sending a bunch of Milan footage, man, just shopping, buying the Balenciagas, spending, going to Just Cavalli. Hey, if you've been to Milan, you know about Just Cavalli, man. If you know, you know. Great nights, great nights. Talk about just what it was like, man, playing in Milan. Cause we had Kyle Allman Jr. on the podcast a couple months back. He's playing in Paris. And he was talking about just the experience of playing in Paris, right? You're in one of literally the top destinations in the world, you know what I'm saying? Playing basketball is it's crazy. Obviously you, being close to Milan, being able to go to Milan frequently, what was that like just being able to play in a city that people, that's a vacation destination and people, I want to go to Milan and see Duomo and go to Italy. What was that like that year, just being able to get out there and play?
Man, Milan was lit, bro. It was lit, especially me being a young 22, first time really having some money in my pocket. Being in Milan was crazy. Obviously it's one of the premier shopping destinations, but just the vibes, it's really it's kind of like New York. That's probably the city I would compare Milan to, maybe. But just being there, especially I'm saying, having a little money in my pocket, it was definitely a vibe, a good place to be.
You have any favorite nights, favorite memories, favorite experiences from Milana that you could share on the pod?
Oh man. Yeah, I can't even think of those specifically, bro, but just like a lot of good nights. Like one of my vets, Joe Ragland, like me and him would just always go. Like I would just kind of, follow him and see what he was doing because he already been there, played EuroLeague and stuff like that. So just seeing the way he would go to Louis store and just cash out on like a $15,000 Louis jacket. And at the time, I'm only making like, I don't even know, like 7,000, 8,000 a month or something like that. And I'm like, bro, you spending 2 months salary on a jacket, like, and it was nothing to him. Like, it didn't even matter. Like, so that's like probably one of the things that really sticks out the most. Like when I think about my time, my first year.
Bro, it's crazy you say that, bro, because I feel like this year being in Japan, I'm in Tokyo. I'm not in Tokyo. I'm 3 hours from Tokyo in a city called Okayama. And I'll never forget, like, Asia dudes be out here cashing out, bro. But like regular Joe Schmoes, I feel like one thing about Europe is like you can see, oh yeah, this dude, Mike James or whatever. Oh, like, you can watch this guy on Switch Cultures and like, oh, he getting to it. He making 400,000, 500,000, whatever. I feel like in Japan, dudes you never heard of. You'd be like, hey, who? Like 400,000, 300,000. So one night we go out in Tokyo and I ain't gonna say my man's name on here, but we have one of my homies. He playing the B2, right? It's not even first division Japan. It's B2 Japan. So we go out and we get a table at this spot called R2. If any folks in Japan, they know about R2. It's like a bar, but it's like a lounge type of situation. But they got tables in there with like hookah, all that type of stuff. So we go on R2. Mind you, it's like 4 guys. It's like 4 of us. We start inviting people to the section, whatever. And we get to the section, he's like asking the shorties, like, oh yeah, like what y'all drink? Like, he's like, oh, wine, like aka wine. That's how you say red wine in Japanese, aka wine. Bro, we ordered like, I think it was like 8, 9 bottles of wine, bro. And mind you, this is not no like bottom shelf house wine. It's like top shelf wine. Like, I don't even remember what it was, bro. I'm looking, bill come, mind you, and then other homies come in, they start ordering cigars, bro. Like, yeah, this our house cigar, whatever. They pass the cigars around. Check come, woo woo. Like, I didn't want to look at the bill, bro. But I'm like, damn, Slim. Like, and mind you, this is like a Thursday or Friday. Like, this ain't even like a crazy Saturday night. And I'm like, bro, you could just spend that drink like it's nothing. It's crazy. It was wild to me, bro. I think that like people be thinking when you go to the league, like obviously those guys living crazy, but it's a bunch of dudes overseas that's having their way, like not even thinking about money at all. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely, man, I can respect it, man. I was in Milan for a couple of days, and I definitely got to go back out there for sure.
Okay, so I have a question. So you mentioned y'all had hookah. So what is your opinion on hookah? This is for both. Like what? Because some people are like, oh, like guys shouldn't do hookah. Some people are like, oh, like yeah, like if I'm out and people doing hookah, like it's cool. Like what vibes do the hookah give? Like, is it not?
Go first, and then I'm gonna answer next.
I mean, as Drew know, I don't smoke or drink, so like, when I go out, I just have a good time. So I don't got nothing against it. I don't got nothing against guys doing it, but I personally don't do it.
Hookah not smoking though. You don't even inhale.
I don't know. I never tried it, so I couldn't tell you, bro.
Okay. Well, I'm heavy on the hookah. Okay. So for all y'all out there that be talking about man shouldn't smoke hookah, this and that, y'all maybe we'll go somewhere. Cause yeah, hookah is definitely getting bust down every time we go outside for sure. Number one, because a lot of times I'm going out with the fellas. You feel me? So we're not going out with like a bunch of females, but it's like we're not about to just get out. We're not about to be in the section with a bottle, no shoulders, just you know what I'm saying? So we like, all right, let's get the hookah, get a little vibe. You feel me? Then you could get the hookah, get a little drink, see what's going on, and you cooling. It's like you don't gotta sit there and just be with a drink in your hand, looking around. Like you look weird. You're like, nah, get comfy, get relaxed, put the hookah down, and you cool. Feel me? So I don't know. I think that whole thing goes into the whole rabbit hole of things men can't do. Everybody wants to say, oh, man can't smoke hookah. Man can't get their nails done. If you get a manicure, you this. oh, man can't, like, I'm like, man, so what can men do? Like, man can't do nothing. Like, y'all just feel like everything is feminine nowadays, bro. Like, so
Don't say y'all. I was just asking a question. Don't
if
say y'all.
I say yeah, I don't mean you. I mean out there. You know what I'm saying? The people, the Twitter finger people. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Nah, man, but I want to ask you too. Let's fast forward to kind of present day, right? You're playing with G League Ignite. What has this season been like for you playing with Ignite? Because number one, you had a unique situation with Ignite to where you weren't on a regular G League salary. You were able to kind of make a little bit more playing with Ignite. Number one, and number two, you know, you're playing with they're projecting a second pick in the draft. You're playing with Scoot Henderson, so there's a bunch of media hype following you guys. Cameras, you guys had the ESPN game earlier in the year versus Wemby, which we'll get into in a little bit. But talk about this year playing with Ignite, what that experience was like for you, especially as an older guy, right? Because Ignite was initially started to have elite high school prospects come out of high school. So for you, being an older guy, being a guy who's played professional basketball already overseas at a high level, you know, what was it like coming into this experience this year?
Yeah, like you said, that's pretty much our role. Like, you know, we had probably 5 or 6 vets on the team, and we're there to pretty much, you know, show the young guys, you know, how to be pros. Like, obviously, guys like Scoot and, you know, London, they're 18, 19 years old. So, you know, Scoot was in the second year being a pro, but, you know, still, like, we're kind of, you know, giving them the cheat sheet, like, to the pros, like, while they're pros now, but, you know, it's still the amateur level for them. So that's pretty much like what the role is as a vet on Ignite. It was definitely like a little different for me because like last year, the year before, I fried the G League, right? Like I'm averaging like 21, you know, playing like 30, high 30s, 30 minutes a game, you know, coming into a situation where it's more catered towards the young guys. So, you know, I had to adjust to that, you know, and you know, still be able to get my game off and still try to, you know, help them out as well and you know, play the game.
Yeah. And what was that like for you? Because I feel like all knowing you, your whole, or at least from Quinnipiac, at least you always been a scorer, right? You know, you mentioned the year before in the G League going for 40 in the G. So what was this year like from a basketball perspective, trying to adjust? And then conversely, again, like you're playing with somebody like Scoot who has the ball obviously a lot, even though he was injured in a bunch of times, kind of in and out of the lineup. But what was that like for you having to kind of adjust your game? Because a lot of times people would say, like, if a guy like yourself is trying to make the league, you're not going to be James Harden with the ball or LeBron. You're going to be kind of fit into a role where you kind of have to do more with less, with limited shots, limited touches. So, you know, for you, just what was that process like trying to adjust your game this year, you know, playing with talent and playing with other guys?
Um, it was, I think it was something that it was easy for me to do. Like, obviously, like the year before, like I played so well, but I didn't get caught up. So I knew it was something else that I needed to show. So like, you know, going into this year, like I kind of treated like, you know, guys like Scoot and Leonard. Like I tried to imagine myself being on like the Lakers or for instance, and imagine them being like LeBron or AD or Russ and kind of trying to, you know, play within that system and trying to play off them, trying to still play my game like while they're obviously the focal points. And I think it's something I did well, like pretty much being the first time I've ever had to play that role. And like you said, like that's a role like most guys are going to have to play in the NBA. So I think, you know, that was something that I was able to do well. And that was probably the reason why, like, I was able to put myself in that situation and not think of it as like a G League team. Think of it more so as like, you know, Scoot's the number 2 pick, so he's going to be, you know, the main guy on whatever team he goes to. So that's kind of how I kind of looked at it.
And what did you see from Scoot? And speaking of him, like I feel like I've never played with Scoot. But I've only seen highlights outside of the game that I watched on ESPN. I've never really seen too much of him. So for you, being with him every day in practice, seeing him perform, what makes him so special? Like, what makes you do? I guess being with him this year, have you been able to see like, all right, I see how people see, you know, he's number 2 player in the draft and probably will be number 1 if it wasn't for Wemby. Like, what is it about him that makes his game so special?
I mean, obviously, it's the things like we see, like he's freak athlete, you know, explosive, you know, he has vision, like, you know, he's a point guard. So, you know, he gets guys involved, but like he's just a kid, like, bro, he works his ass off though. Like, he's probably the first person to the gym, last person to leave the gym. Like, we had a bus that came and picked us up from our apartments and took us to the gym. And he'd always drive his own car over. Like, so he'd be there before like we start practicing, shooting or lifting, getting whatever work he had to get in. Like he got like definitely for me at 18 and 19, like that's not what I was on. Like I wasn't working like that. Like obviously he's a pro, but he's able to, do what he does. Like he killed the G League 2 years in a row, like at 18, 19 years old. And it's really outside of the athleticism and the God-given talents, it's the work he puts in. Like he really works.
When you look back on that game versus Wembanyama, right? Like, how crazy was that game? 'Cause I feel like they hyped it up so much. Oh, first of all, overseas teams, unless you're doing like a preseason NBA thing where you're gonna play the Clippers or the Kings or the Warriors, whatever, Lakers, like you're not overseas teams don't come to the States and play in America. So the fact that they set that whole game up so that they could match up, and obviously seeing, the freak that Wemby is in person, just what do you remember about that game? Or those two games that you guys played against them, man? And I guess what are your thoughts on Wemby as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was dope that they was able to set that game up. I didn't really know initially, like when I signed Take Night, that we were going to be playing that game because the game was like in October, I want to say.
Yeah, super early.
Yeah, super early, and normal G League stuff normally doesn't start up till like late September or September in general. So yeah, like it was cool. They were able to, obviously put the number 1 and number 2 pick up against each other and let them duke it out. And obviously it is what it is. It was a crazy game. Like Scoot went crazy, Wembanyama went crazy, and it was just like probably I don't know, like one of the best matchups you could probably say. Like for dudes going into the draft, like that's probably one of the best matchups you've ever probably seen, like ever for prospects that have played against each other on that stage. But yeah, like Wembanyama, he's OD. Like he's 7'4", handle, athletic, shoot threes. Like he's OD for sure. Like one thing that stands out to me the most is one bucket he had. Like I'm on the bench at the time. He like dribbled to the deep corner and just like shot it like leaning out of bounds. Like I was like, at 7'4", it really don't make it don't make no sense for nobody be doing that. Like that stuff Steph does. Like and it's crazy when he do it, but at 7'4", it just looked ridiculous.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember that shot too. Well, my guy clip that to show the folks. I think one thing that I always wanted to ask, man, like you mentioned it, you last year playing in the G League, you average 21 a game, right? You killing, right? And you don't get the call up. I mentioned already on this podcast, like I think you're an NBA player when you look at, like I said, your size, the ability to shoot the ball, you're athletic, get up on the rim, punch on dudes, send the highlights, go check that tape. Why do you think you're not in the NBA? If somebody asks you, damn, Cannon, why are you not in the league? Like, how would you respond to that question?
I think like year after year it kind of changes. Like I really like out of college, I think it was because like, the level I played at. And I feel like I get closer and closer, like, the further I get in my career. I'm like going into year 5, like I only played 4 years. And I feel like people just haven't really seen me. Like obviously even like the year I was averaging 21 in the G League, like I came a month late. Like I had got, cut from the South Bay Lakers. So I missed the whole first month. So when the call-ups start happening over like December, I had only played for a month. Like, yeah, I've been averaging 20, but I only played like 6-7 games. So just stuff like that. I feel like, timing has to do with it a lot too. Like I feel like a lot of situations like had the same situation last year with the call-ups happened this year, I would have been an easy call-up. But like, timing and just things of that nature.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect segue, man. So I asked this question to a bunch of guys, man. I asked it to Kyle Allman, I asked it to James Palmer. We had him on a couple episodes ago, and you mentioned, right, you've been a pro for 4 years. You've done first division in Italy, played summer league last year with Cleveland. You've been offered Exhibit 10. You played with Ignite this year. You're at the age right now, right, where 26, right, going on 27. Oh, you already turned
27.
27. 27 right now, right? So where are you at now as far as the NBA, right? You just said in your statement, right? I feel like I'm getting closer and closer every year. So at this point in your career today, do you feel like you still want to try to give it a shot to chase the league? Are you at a point where you like, you know what, man, I want to go overseas and just try to max out, make as much money as I can? How do you balance that in your mind when you do feel like you're getting closer and closer to realizing the ultimate dream of making the NBA? But at the same time, it's like you're 27, so it is like, all right, man, at some point you got to try to go and get paid, right? How do you balance that in your mind? How do you, I guess it's the ultimate battle, man, but where are you at with that right now?
I think I'm like in between, like I feel like, obviously this situation I was just in with Ignite is different than a regular G League situation. Like pretty much our entire team makes six figures. So it's like, it's not like I know I seen the quote you put when James Palmer was like, it's a difference between 35 and whatever he said, 150. It really is. But, obviously in my situation, it was a little different. I think moving forward, like, I'm at a point where like I do feel like I'm getting closer and closer, but I think I can, go after the money and still go out there at the same time. So like definitely like a situation in Europe or Australia or something like that. I think that could be a situation where I can go get paid and still also give myself the, the rope to be able to, make it back to the league if that situation does present itself.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I think that's the hardest part, man. Because like, as kids, we always tell ourselves, right? Like, I'm trying to get to the league. You know what I'm saying? That's always the ultimate goal. And it's like sometimes you have to redefine what success looks like to you. Because I feel like I was always we were talking about this last week on the barbershop episode. And it's like, yo, like as a hooper, right? Like, do you feel like you failed if you didn't make the league, right? Like I've been overseas for 2 years, about to be my third year overseas this year. And it's like, I'm not in your position to where I'm chasing the league. I'm like, I'm gonna ride my career off into the sunset overseas. And it's like, well, damn, you didn't make it to the league then. Did you fail? Like, how you look at that? And for me, I feel like I had to redefine what success was for me as far as a basketball player, as a pro, and like just maximizing my potential. So for you, how do you quantify that for yourself as far as like, damn, like, all right, let's say you go overseas and you make millions of dollars overseas, you don't make the league, right? How will you look back on that as your career as a success? Did you reach the goal? How do you quantify that in your mind?
I think for like you said, like me and you, we both are professional basketball players, and I think like with the whole failure thing, I think as a pro, like, and probably other people who play basketball can attest to it, like it's different than when like a regular person is looking at us. Like if we say we play overseas, like they probably don't look at it as, what it is. Like it's a crazy accomplishment. Like you can still make crazy money, stuff like that. So I never look at it as a failure because like it's still a place where, a lot of people don't make it to. Like I don't know what the statistics are, but just being a pro in general is like slim to none. So obviously it's a goal of mine to make it to the NBA. But at the end of the day, like I just want to be able to play at the highest level possible that I can play at and be able to succeed at that level. Like I kind of like goal set every year. Like I haven't personally won a championship, at the pro level. I haven't won a MVP or a scoring title or stuff like that. And I think just like things like that are things that I'm chasing. And like, that's what, I can call success at the end of the day. Like, I'm like next year, like whatever league I go to, I want to win, a scoring title or first team or something like that. And I think obviously the NBA is the number one goal, but those are still small goals along the way, like that I can still be proud of and, still know that I succeeded.
100%. 100%. Sheesh, man. I think that's a good way to kind of wrap up the heavy stuff, man. We got some quick hitters though, man. You know what I'm saying? Got to get the quick hitters, man. So as you know, the name of the podcast, What's in Your Bag podcast. So got a two-part question for you. when you stepping out, let's say when you're in LA, right? Let's say we going to I don't even know I don't know. LA, first of all, LA is super bougie, man, because West Hollywood is super bars, lounges, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But you going out for a night on the town, right? What's in your bag? Number one, like what are you putting in your physical bag? Like if you have a little over-the-shoulder bag, or if you carry a bag with you, what are you putting in it? And then number two, what's the fit that you throwing on to pop out, man? What's the fit?
And I don't really wear the bags. They are tight though. I kind of want a go yard one, but I don't even know what I would have in it. But I probably throw if I had one, like I don't know, phone, I guess some safety items, and then I don't know what else go in it. You probably can tell me more about what go in a
I'm
bag.
about to say, bro. First of all, I always got to bring the charger. That's number one. Never know what night gonna end, so the charger come with me. Chapstick every time. Can't have chap lips going outside. The cologne gotta have it smell good. You know what I'm saying? Wallet, phone. And I usually be bringing some shades too. So that's usually what's in my bag. You know, if I'm going out, you can always find them in the Drew Fly over the shoulder tote bag. You know what I'm saying?
How big is the bag?
It's like a tote bag. It's a tote bag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got a tote bag swag. Or I do if I have a crossbody, then I'll probably do the same things, but just without the shades probably won't be in there. And depending on the over the shoulder bag, how big it is, maybe the cologne won't be in there. But I usually bring my tote bag wherever I go normally. So it'd be making it work. You know what I'm saying? And then what's the fit, Cam? Give us the fit, man. What you throwing on?
Obviously, it depends on the outing, but like I'm real into Stone Island right now. I've been on Stone Island for like a couple of years now. It's just probably my favorite brand, just because it's so like calm. Like obviously, it costs what it costs, but like you really won't know what it is unless you obviously are into that brand, or what the brand is. Like it don't got no big logos or big pictures on it and stuff like that. It's just like real calm stuff. So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. And what's the kicks?
Man, you know me, I'm always got some fly kicks on, but I probably I don't know, probably some J's, probably some Black Cats, all black four, something like that. Can't never go wrong with Jordans.
Okay. See, I thought you was going to Balenciagas, man. Can I feel like you was a brand ambassador for Balenciaga when you was in Italy.
Yeah, bro. I don't know, man. Like as I get older and like, further along, I get like over the designer stuff. Like designer stuff is cool, but like at the end of the day, like if you took the logo off of it, it wouldn't probably be tight. Like, so yeah. I'm kind of low key off the designer stuff.
Growth. Love that. All right, man. How you feel about the Lakers, man? You know what I'm saying? Wait, Lexi, did you have a question before you? I don't know if I moved on. You like about to say something.
Oh no, I just laughed at you saying growth.
What's up with these Lakers, man? Who, you know what I'm saying? Lakers winning this series, they win the ring. I know are you a Lakers fan? Like, is that your mob? Like,
bro, sports teams is like weird to me.
You be going back and forth. You be going back and forth.
Like I'm saying, obviously, like I started hooping late, so I never really had a team. Like, so like even watching hoops, like I like LeBron growing up, but I was never like, I never had a team. So like I just root for certain players. I like certain players. Like I really like James Harden. So like, I don't care who wins or loses, but I obviously want to see him play and stuff like that. But in this series, I thought the Warriors was gonna get it done early, but at this point, it's looking like probably Lakers win this game at home.
And then who you got winning the chip this year?
I mean, it's probably gonna end up being the Lakers. I think it could be like a Lakers Sixers matchup, and Lakers. If AD's cool, they probably get it done.
That'd be crazy for the city, man. That'd be crazy for the city. All right, funniest Quinnipiac memory. Funniest, wildest. First thing that comes to your mind, we think about your time at Quinnipiac.
Trying to think of one we could talk about on here. It might be probably just like going out like the first year with Slink. Like
Yeah.
we would go to Toes. Like Toes was like the, obviously the spot. We'd go in there, but we went in like a couple times with stink bombs. And we just like
Yeah.
stuck bomb the whole club. Like it was horrible, bro. We went to
Hey,
every
yo.
store to set them off.
Y'all
Nah,
need to go to jail.
Hey, was we ever in there when y'all did this? Or y'all was just going there on some dolo time? Like, was this a team mob? Y'all ever did it?
I think y'all was there, but I don't even remember. Like we was definitely like only going there to do that. Like we was on demon time for sure. Like so y'all might not even smell it. It might have been what it was, but yeah, that was probably the craziest moment.
Damn. All right. Favorite New Haven or Hamden area restaurant?
Definitely the ice cream spot. Arthur's.
I would do this. I knew you was going to say that. I knew you was going to say that.
Like every time I go, I try to make a trip out there every summer just to like. I be saying it's to talk to the young boys and stuff, but that's really what it's for. Get the ice cream.
Hey, nah, our enthusiasts is top tier, man. If you know, you know. Our enthusiasts, man. We gotta send it to them. Maybe they sponsor the podcast. You know what I'm saying? We get them a little nice little bag out of them, man. Let's see. Alexa, you got any quick hitters for us? Anything on top of the head?
Were you able to participate in any of like the fashion weeks or anything when you were in Italy, or just like even if you weren't able to go to any of the shows, did you just see any like switch up and just the effort that people was putting in the outfits, or even just like being in Italy, like any kind of fashion trends that you kind of noticed that you might not have like, incorporated into your own style, but just notice like, oh, okay, I see y'all do that. That's kind of cool. Doesn't work for me, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I did. I went to a show. I went to I believe the Palm Angel show. My first year. It was cool. That was my first time being at a fashion show in general or going to fashion week or anything. So that was cool. But the one thing that like stands out, like in Italy specifically, like everybody wears designer. Like it's almost like normal. Like you'll go to the Duomo or whatever, and you'll see every single person having designer bag, designer shoes. Or if you go out, everybody has designer on. It's like that was the first time I've seen it be so broad. Even being like from LA, like it's even more dramatic than like what I've seen in LA, like in Milan.
Favorite restaurant in LA?
We talking like hood spot or like bougie spot?
Both. I'm going back next summer. Like I said, I'm a resident now, so I need to drop.
It's like a bougier spot, probably be Barry's. It's like it's by the Beverly Center. They got like, I get the buffalo shrimp if I was you. If I went there, they got like lobster pizza, fire. But hood spot though, definitely Brawley Hut on Crenshaw. Crenshaw, man, like chili cheese fries every time. I don't even know. I've been eating that since I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, bro. I don't even know what anything else tastes like, bro. Chili
I was about
cheese
to say you ever had Pink's, the hot dog spot?
Never been.
Hey, I won't lie to you, bro. I won't lie, bro. We went to this spot in I think it's in West Hollywood. It's called Station 1640. So we went there or whatever, and then after we went to Pink's. It was a Sunday day party, so it's like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Smack. We went in there, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Alexis, she know about like Ben Shitty Bowl. It's like a Ben Shitty Bowl type spot, but it's the LA version, basically.
Mm-hmm. So you was in LA eating glizzies, is what you trying to say?
Yes, that was the top 5 glizzy I ever had in my entire life. Like, I won't lie. Like,
make sure you had Tank. Make sure you have Tank cut this clip right here.
Yo,
put a little indicator on the premiere timeline. Make sure you cut this. This, please, Tank.
That was a top 5 hot dog I ever had in my life. With the chili cheese fries, they had the diced tomatoes on that joint. Hey, bro, you gotta go there, bro. I'm trying to tell you, if you go to Venezuela, stop by there, bro. I'm trying to tell you, best choice you'll make. But I don't know, like you said, Brawley's, I might have to go try it next time I'm there. Cause but Pink is the one though. I won't lie. It might give Ben Chili Bowl some bump, Alexis. I won't lie. It's like it might be like a 1 and 1A for hot dogs, especially late night.
Oh, brother.
Oh man. Man, that's a perfect way to end it, man. But on a serious note though, man, this has been a great time just catching up, reminiscing. You definitely dropped a lot of gems, on just how to approach going through adversity at Quinnipiac in the college career to navigating the pro career and having to, be able to redefine success and stuff like that. And I always end every episode by just giving out flowers, man. I think it's crazy because obviously me and you came in the same, well, we didn't come in the same year, but we were the same class, graduated the same class, pretty much played the same position, had to battle it out in college. And just to see where you've been able to take your career from 2016 when we met to now, man, incredibly proud of everything you've been able to do, on the basketball court. Seeing what you've been able to do overseas in the G. I know you got a lot of great things on the horizon, man. So just keep going, man. Keep chasing. We're always going to be supporting you, obviously, here at All Facts, man, in the group chat. Next time I come to LA, man, don't duck me, man, because I told you come pull up, to the runs, man. I don't know what happened, but we'll leave that somewhere else, man. But nah, man, thank you for coming on the podcast today, man. Like I said, keep being great, because like I said, I know you got a bright future ahead.
I appreciate you, bro. I want to say the same to you, bro. Like, definitely proud of you. Similar situation, I feel like, like could have easily, gave up both of us, and we at where we at now, and I think we still probably got a long time to go in this. So congratulations, and I'm proud of you too, bro.
Appreciate it, my boy, man. Like I said, we're going next summer, man, LA. You know what I'm saying? LA 2024, man. You know what I'm saying? I had to make a stop back in the DMV so me and Alexis can hit Park and Rose Bar, you know what I'm saying? Law Society. So I'll probably do that and then
I won't be there.
What? You ain't coming back home? Wow, you moved to the West Coast and forgot about us.
I won't be there.
Wow.
Us, you live in Japan.
I'm coming back next summer. I'll be back next summer. Don't worry about it. I ain't running off. I ain't running off out here. Believe that.
Well, I won't be there. So y'all boys be easy up at Rose Bar and Park and Creole on 14th and Barcode and
wow. So you be at the new spot. You forgot where you came from? You just forgot where you came from now?
No, I just don't have a reason to go.
What you mean? The What's in Your Bag reunion? The people want it. Already, me and Tank already had our link up, so now it's only right.
Well, you and Tank filmed the in-person episode, and I was in Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, you was too busy being lit, covering the Final Four, like, you know what I'm saying? It's tough. It's gonna be tough to keep you on the payroll, Alexis. You know what I'm saying? You're doing big things, so it's gonna be tough for us. We gotta negotiate. Well,
whatever. I need Rick's.
Hey, listen, my bad. Rick's mommy. We got to talk to Ace. I'm gonna talk to Ace about that. We'll get the salary. We'll get y'all a nice little salary to support your expensive habits.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This has been another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast presented by Bet Online. Like I said in the beginning, man, make sure you guys are liking this podcast, subscribing to this podcast, give us a 5-star rating. That goes a long, long way. Make sure you guys tap in with my boy Pull Up Tay. It's going to be him on the outro. Make sure y'all stream his latest album, just dropped. So go tap in, guys. Until next time, folks. Peace.
Suave. I've been in my bag for a while, I'm invincible. Story of a young boss, grinding shit get critical. Calling on my bros one time, cause you special. I had some hoop dreams of right rounds for my mental. Every target that I shoot is on point like a pencil. Different route, change relationships, I'm so sorry. Came up from the trenches and I made it, I say hardly. Now